Training. New Chelsea player trains for the first time, but two key forwards are missing. Chelsea's new signing has been spotted in training for the first time this week as he gets accustomed to his new surroundings in London. However, it wasn't all good news, with two key attacking players not spotted in any of the training pictures that were posted on X yesterday afternoon. Exclusive. The 16 players Chelsea made attempts on trying to sign in January, but failed. Scrolling through all of the pictures, you can see that new midfielder Mathis Amougou, who arrived at Chelsea from France on deadline day this January, taking part in his first session. However, there is no sign of strikers Nicholas Jackson or Marc Guiu, who both went down injured during the win against West Ham on Monday night. Neither player actually went off injured, but both looked in a lot of discomfort at the time and at the full-time whistle. Guiu has been confirmed injured and will miss the Brighton match on Saturday afternoon in the FA Cup, but nothing has yet been confirmed either way for Jackson. Of course, just because he's not been spotted, it does not mean he will definitely miss the game Saturday and is out injured, but it doesn't look great. Chelsea may well regret signing a new striker. The Blues have gone through the last 5 transfer windows and failed to sign a true and proven number, 99. Nicholas Jackson for me will forever be more of a wide forward than a center forward, and Marc Guiu looks decent, but is also still very young and raw. Christopher Nkunku is not a striker. The Blues were linked with a host of new strikers in the January transfer window, with Liam Delap of Ipswich Town being the most heavily linked. They also looked at names such as Benjamin Sesko. However, they did not sign a new striker, something they have consistently failed to do in 5 transfer windows. They may well regret not signing a new striker in January. Brighton versus Chelsea injury news as 11 ruled out and 3 doubts for FA Cup clash. Watch more of our videos on ShotsTV.com and on Freeview 262 or Freely 565. Visit Shots. Now, all the latest injury news surrounding Chelsea and Brighton as they prepare to face off in the FA Cup. Chelsea are back in action on Saturday when they face Brighton away from home in the FA Cup. These two sides actually face each other back-to-back, with a Premier League date straight after this one. Igor Julio, out Herzler has confirmed. Igor Julio is out for the rest of the season with a hamstring injury that needed surgery. It's a really big thing. Jason Steele. Out Steele will be out until the spring after having shoulder surgery. Ferdi Kadioglu. Out Kadioglu won't make it back for this one, expected to return from his ankle injury next weekend. James Milner. Out Milner has a hamstring injury that has kept him out for a couple of months. He should be back next week or the week after. Pervis Estupinan. Doubt Estupinan could return this weekend or next weekend at the worst. Solly March. Doubt. The same applies for March. Mats Wiefer. Doubt. The same applies for Wiefer too, amid his hamstring issue. Wesley Fofana. Out Fofana is not likely to return until just before the end of the season. Maresca has said, with Wes, we don't know exactly how long he could be out for, but he has a hamstring injury, and unfortunately, we are going to lose him for a while. He could be out for the season, yes. Benoit Badiashile. Out Badiashile won't be risked here, not likely to return until the following weekend. Romeo Lavia. Out Maresca has confirmed that Lavia will be out for a few weeks more. Mykhailo Mudryk. Out. Suspended. Mudryk is suspended over the alleged use of a banned substance. Maresca has said, the only thing I can say is that we are close to Mykhailo as a club, and we are trying to help him. In terms of an update, I don't have one. Kellyman has missed almost the whole season with a hamstring injury, and he will remain out here. Chelsea have 2 new first-team players, and nobody has noticed Enzo Maresca has recently added 2 new players to his Chelsea squad, and they could soon play key roles in his side for years to come. Since the Italian replaced Mauricio Pochettino in the dugout, the Blues have forked out millions to strengthen his squad. In the summer, Chelsea spent £219.6 million on welcoming 12 new faces to Stamford Bridge, with nearly half of that spent on Pedro Neto, 54 meter, and Joao Felix, 46.3 meters. before investing a further £12 million in January, signing Matisse Amougou. Maresca has capitalized on the club's resources, climbing back into the top four while also re-establishing an identity on the pitch. Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart are expected to continue to back the Chelsea boss in future transfer windows, whether they're bringing in big names or unearthed diamonds. The West Londoners can sign as many players as they want, but Maresca already has two future stars that could fire the Blues to victory for years to come. This season, the Italian has seamlessly integrated Josh Akiampong and Tyreek George into the first team. When the former penned a contract extension in December, Maresca tipped him to become a great player. "I am very, very happy," said the Chelsea boss. "With Josh, it has been quite clear. We had him in pre-season, and I didn't know him personally, but within 2 or 3 days, he really impressed me. Since pre-season, I have been trying to better understand the situation with him because of his contract and this kind of thing. Finally, the club has found an agreement with him, and we are all happy because we are all convinced and we are all sure Josh can be a great player for this club." A few weeks later, Maresca named Akiampong as the best player on the pitch during Chelsea's 1-1 draw with Crystal Palace. The Blues boss said, "All the players for me were good today, but if I had to decide for one, Josh was the best player. He can be a top player for this club. We decided today because we saw he was ready. Today, he showed how good he is." George has also been slowly integrated into the first team setup, quietly becoming a regular in the Blues matchday squad. The 19-year-old winger may not have played as much as he would like so far, but Maresca has already paved his pathway into the first team. Speaking to reporters following Chelsea's 2-1 win over West Ham, the Blues boss was asked what he would do if Nicholas Jackson and Marc Guiu were both sidelined with injuries. In what was his first press conference after the transfer window shut, Maresca suggested he has a long-term plan for George. "We have Tyreek, who is a very good profile, and probably we can find some different solutions," said the Italian. "In the last half an hour, we played with Marc Cucurella higher, with Christopher Nkunku inside. We'll try to find different solutions." Without reading too much between the lines, Maresca quietly promoted George as a left inside forward deputy to Nkunku, taking the place of Mykhailo Mudryk, who remains unavailable. While Joao Felix, who joined AC Milan on loan, will return to Chelsea in the summer, the Cobham graduate has the chance to leave his mark and climb the pecking order. Want to keep up to date with the breaking and important Chelsea stories whilst on the move? Well, now you can. 5 from training. Focus shifts to FA Cup action. Following last night's Premier League victory over West Ham United, the Chelsea players were straight back to work at Cobham with the resumption of our FA Cup campaign coming into focus. The Blues mounted an impressive second-half fight back at Stamford Bridge yesterday, battling back from a 1-goal halftime deficit to triumph 2-1 over West Ham. Pedro Neto leveled the contest after he turned home the rebound from Enzo Fernandez's initial close-range effort before Cole Palmer's drive toward goal flew in via a deflection off Hammers defender Aaron Wan-Bissaka to give us all 3 points in our latest Premier League fixture. The victory was hard-earned, and Maresca was pleased with the mental fortitude his players showcased across a challenging 90 minutes. "I was very happy because I think this game was the toughest game in terms of mentality," the Blues head coach said. "In this moment, when teams come here and they just sit back and wait for our mistake, there is no space to attack. You need to be patient." There was little time for Maresca and his squad to bask in the glow of that win, with attention now turning to Saturday's FA Cup 4th-round tie. "We sealed our passage through to this stage of the competition by defeating Morecambe at Stamford Bridge last month. The Blues make the relatively short journey to Brighton and Hove Albion on Saturday evening for the first of back-to-back fixtures against the Seagulls at the Amex Stadium. The players who started in our win over West Ham were undertaking recovery work, but there were still several members of the Blues squad for Maresca and his coaching staff to work with on the grass at our Surrey training base. That group included Malo Gusto, Trevoh Chalobah, and Christopher Nkunku, who were all introduced off the substitutes bench against the Hammers to earn praise from Maresca. He said, "Why I said you have to be mentally strong is because my message at halftime was, don't change anything and continue in the same way, because they could be so intense for 95 minutes. It is impossible because they were just running behind the ball. Second half, we found a little bit more space, and also the subs from the bench were very good, so I am very happy for that reason." Player set for Chelsea medical after €15 million deal agreed. Could stay with Blues despite earlier suggestions. Chelsea have reached an agreement with Saint-Etienne to sign Mathis Amougou, and he could end up staying at Stamford Bridge. That's according to Fabrice Hawkins, who reports that a deal worth €15 million has been agreed between Chelsea and Saint-Etienne. He also adds that Amougou will sign a long-term contract with the Blues. A medical examination is now set to take place, but there may have been a change to the original plans for him. Initial reports had been that Amougou would head on loan to Strasbourg, another club in the Blue Co network, and where Chelsea have sent several of their youngsters over the last year. A loan to the French side is still under consideration, but there is a possibility that Amougou could remain at Chelsea to bolster their options instead. The Blues have lost Benoit Badiashile and Wesley Fofana from their centre-back options this month, and with Axel Disasi also still being linked with a move away on deadline day, perhaps they are considering keeping hold of Amougou instead of sending him to Strasbourg. That will presumably be up to ENZO Maresca, but a deal is being done today either way, and there will be a decision to make at some point. Confirmed. Chelsea loan out tri-national midfielder to 8-time German champions. Statement on the official website. 8-time Bundesliga champions Borussia Dortmund have officially announced the signing of Chelsea's tri-national player Carney Chukwuemeka on loan until the end of the season, with an option for a permanent transfer. The 21-year-old, who has struggled for regular playing time at Chelsea, completed the move on transfer deadline day to bolster Dortmund's squad for the second half of the season. Austrian-born Chukwuemeka, who is eligible to represent Nigeria despite playing for England at youth levels, has found first-team minutes hard to come by at Stamford Bridge under ENZO Maresca. He is yet to make a Premier League appearance this season, but has featured in 4 UEFA Conference League and once in the Carabao Cup. Speaking on the transfer, Borussia Dortmund sporting director Sebastian Kehl expressed confidence in Chukwuemeka's abilities and potential for growth. Carney is an extremely talented box-to-box player who has made a real impression in the Premier League at a young age. It's no surprise that he has